I am not sure if this audio is going to work, but this is the first time that I am in StarCitizen with the new 7800 X3D and 64 gigs of DDR4 Ram. I'm still working on getting that to proper clock speeds. I think it's around 4800 right now, and a 2080. So the graphics card is going to definitely beat the bottleneck in this system. You can thank NVIDIA for that. Thanks, NVIDIA. Thank you for having ridiculous prices on graphics cards. However, what I'm going to do is I'm running around 3.8.2, and I noticed that the game loaded extremely fast coming from my 7700K and 32 gigs of RAM and the same graphics card, the exact same graphics card. So the biggest factor change is the chip. Right now I'm looking on the other screen at Task Manager, and I'm going to live add that. I'm really hoping this audio doesn't come clippy or something else. I had no time to check. But I'm sitting at 60% utilization. The CPU seems to be fluctuating between 58% and 62% of CPU load, and it is consuming 14 gigs of memory right now just going around Lorville. Lorville is a main focus, with Lorville 2.0 eventually coming out, and there's the wonderful pipes full of stuff we don't talk about. Sets the tone for the place wonderfully. And I think one of the easiest things to do is head over to the CBD for the business district and see if that is a place that we want to go. So let's take a look. If I remember right, it's like this end of the facility. So, I mean, this goes without saying, but Lorville is still Lorville, even when they do all the fancy stuff. In fact, one of my favorite places to test, and I've shown it in other videos, is down below here recently. I'm not going to spend too long right here on this test bed. And as a reminder, I have a running FPS counter in the top right. You can see a lot of interesting stuff up there. You can also note that the server FPS is only like around 5 or 6, so do bear that in mind too. Kill the chat. So you can see some of the lighting effects. You can see how they're looking. And remember, the test is mainly on the FPS count on the client side, the big green writing at the top right, not the server FPS, which is the server trying to catch up with me. So down there is not a great AI test or mission test or anything like that, but what I do like about being down there is it shows you a lot of lighting, and it's an area that most people don't go down to check out. Didn't tank my FPS. That was kind of the point. I should have just led with that. I built this PC last night, and it was an exhausting process. Gigabyte apparently added a heatsink to their SSD spaces, and they have special little quick closures, which is all new to me. So it's a nerve-wracking experience to take this fragile little thing that reminds me a lot of old school laptop RAM, and trying to finagle it into this quick connector and add a giant heatsink to the top of it.
Security reserves the right
Pads
to search
and
travelers
everything.
at any
It's
time.
a unique experience. To anybody who hasn't built a PC themselves in a long time, especially with M.2s, it's a wild new world. Take a good look at the boards when you're shopping if you don't want to have to relearn all the goofy clips and all the things that they think they're helping you with. But yeah, anyway, this is the central line. I'm going to head over to the CBD and see how it looks over there. I think that's a pretty fair judgment of a planetary landing location, is if that site looks pretty good. There's the rail set, favorite of Mason, and that's the blue and white version. You can pick that up over last time, if I'm right. It's at Orison, I think, on the production platform, but they might have moved it because I didn't see it on the mannequin there. I didn't check. I didn't have a chance to check the kiosk. But yeah, you can buy that in game.
Next stop, Central Station.
It's a pretty good utility armor. So right now I'm about 40% CPU. It's jumping. That's why I'm saying that word. It's jumping between like 37 and 41. Memory's at 37%. The GPU's at 98%, 99%, 97%, 99%. So that's where the bottleneck is. Oh, another thing.
Now
I have
arriving,
1200 watt power supply brand new on
Please watch your
this.
step when disembarking
So
the train.
that is not going to be a bottleneck either, in case you're wondering. And both of the CPU motherboard plugs are being utilized, even though I would never overclock this poor thing. And it has a proper cooler, I would not do such a thing. So you can see the AI hasn't woke up yet. Makes sense. I'm looking at around 6 average server FPS, and I'm probably the Arrow fellow came by. He's a player. Take a look at the gold finish on this. Take a look at that. Let me see what settings. Am I on medium right now or high? Very high quality. There we go. Got my distances at medium. That's fine for here. These clouds probably should be at medium as well, but I'm not at Orison, so I'm not going to sweat it too much. So let's go visit our buddy. This is an area I really look forward to. A lot of fond memories when we were shooting Machinima with Ash and crew, and did a lot of content here. And one of the things I also thought was interesting to come here was because the Central Tower subscriber paint for multiple ships this month that you have to purchase. Unfortunately, you have to have, first of all, you got to be a subscriber, then you can purchase it. But don't sweat it if you don't want this month's other paints, like the Hosanna paint, which is actually a pretty cool paint. Because you can pick it up at any time, but you do need to purchase it. My advice with paints is to just buy, melt with the store credit. Okay. All right, so this is a packed house right here. Once again, the AI is not working too well today. Let's see how Constantine Hurston's doing. He's looking at me. Okay.
I'm sorry. This isn't a great time.
Is it now? Look at the reflection on the skin from the lights. And you can see the FPS in this room is fantastic. There's not a lot being rendered.
Did my cousin send you to do this?
Just for the heck of it, let me see if I actually have a mission right here. Probably don't. But... Here's somebody noting Area 18's having an issue. Orison's having open hangar doors issues. Like I said, the focus is Loreville. Loreville. If you're gonna try 3.18.2, I would recommend coming over here. And don't forget this to recopy over your account. Even if it's ready, you really don't want to have to try to cross that over from 3.18.1 to 3.18.2, even though it's the same PTU cycle. Just treat it like a regular patch. Just get it clean, run, clean, update in your PTU file, and then roll in. Stop in Loreville, I'd recommend. He doesn't have any contracts. What I'm looking for is right here. like the different people who assign contracts. Okay, let's go see how the ship's run. So, coming from a very early CPU, 7700K, I can tell you I'm very pleased with the 7800 X3D. If you're watching this because you're going, will it work in StarCitizen? Yeah, here's an average server. And by the way, this is 3.18.2. This is where we're going. This is the future of the game with a lot of the bug fixes and a lot of the clients and server supports they've placed in the service. So this is probably close to what the experience you will have if you're planning to build now or in the near future. This is close to what you'll have. Apologies, I don't have a better graphics card. Once again, thank you NVIDIA for having sky-high prices, but soon and very soon I'll pick up one, probably next year.
Now arriving
Prices crash
at the
sooner,
spaceport.
but
Stand by and let
who knows?
passengers disembark before boarding.
I think the memory, by the way, being 64 gigs is not really needed, and memory, DDR5 memory, seems to be a cost that's you're probably not going to recoup. You know, it's future-proofing a little bit, but do you really need it? Probably
Next
not.
stop,
You could-
TISA Spaceport.
You probably could get by on 32 gigs. Once again, I'm looking on my other screen, I'm watching it like a hawk, and it's sitting around steady, around 14 to 15 gigs memory utilization. So that gives you plenty of space. StarCitizen tends to be spiky in its utilization of CPU and memory. It kind of alternates, whereas graphics, it kind of like just, at least once again, on my experience with the 20 series, NVIDIA RTX 20 series, it just sits. It sits at a certain like max. But with CPU and memory, when you have headspace, it does like to spike up and down a little bit. And I have heard and seen with my own eyes 16 gigs memory not being enough. I believe 32 gigs is the sweet spot. 64 if you want to do other things while you're doing StarCitizen. Maybe if you really feel adventurous, have a YouTube video running on your other screen, or in your Discord or whatever else, your chat programs and such. Think of those type of things, especially when you're running a really, really badly
Now arriving,
optimized patch.
TISA Spaceport.
Like, for example,
Please
a
watch your
test
step
version.
when disembarking
But
the
this
train.
one has been very smooth.
Step away from the platform edge when train is approaching.
I wanted to show
Transfers
you
to the perimeter,
one thing,
spaceport,
special
and
reveal
industry lines.
before I go up, is right here is the reappear heart cut through to the medical
A
facilities.
visionary in her generosity
So this
and
is
a
right here, the
philanthropic
medical,
inspiration
the
to
main
the millions
medical
of lives
facility
she's
here
touched.
in Louisville.
This hospital is proud to be named after
And
this unparalleled.
This is the train directly from
Welcome to Metro
the
Center.
spaceport. So when you get
Transfers
off
to
the
the
train,
perimeter,
normally you
spaceport,
would go
and
straight
industry
ahead to go
lines.
meet up with your friends at the Habs, bar, or whatever. More recently, a few patches ago, when they added Maria Pura Heart, they had another entrance added to it that's over this side. And I believe that this would be where you could drop your injured friends off so they could immediately get help. So if you were able to drag somebody all the way over here, this is where you can take them. I believe that was the intention. I don't know if that's still the deal. I think, I've heard a lot of different things, but I heard with a lot of the hangar changes, there's going to be a medical elevator probably there. There's already a
Step
cargo
away from the
elevator.
platform edge when train
At the very
is
least, there's
approaching.
one option that's already implemented in the game. At least the framework to hang it all is already here. So that's definitely going to be coming.
Now arriving from TISA Spaceport. Stand by and let
So-
passengers disembark before boarding.
Thought I'd share that. Also, I am using the Ryzen Master now on the other page instead of just the performance gauge, so a better tool for the job. And I'm watching the cores work pretty hard, honestly.
considerate to your fellow
Particularly as
travelers.
expected,
Do not
as
lock
Sylvan
doors.
has detailed many times to us. 2 cores in particular. So in general on StarCitizen. You have a master core, and you have a supporting core that's handling different clocks and such. Interesting glitch.
Next stop,
Trains
Tisa
still are glitchy.
Spaceport.
Anyway, what I've noticed is on the Ryzen Master, there's a star next to the fastest core, the best core. It seems to have tested itself when it first loaded up. And then there's a second fastest core mark on core. In particular, in my case, it's like 6, 4, 4, and 6. Anyway, the point is that those two cores are the ones StarCitizen is using. So at least AMD system thinks those are the two fastest cores,
Now arriving.
and they happen to be the
Tisa
ones
Spaceport.
being
Please
utilized
watch
by
your step when
StarCitizen.
disembarking the train.
So I find that very interesting, and that was those marks were on there before I started the game, and I did not have Ryzen Master fired up in the previous session, so I don't think this was influenced by the existence of it. So translation, it is correctly prioritizing. I wanted to just make a quick PSA. If you are considering making the jump, or you already just have to a newer chip, regardless of what you pick, be sure to update your drivers. I did have a few issues when I thought my motherboard drivers were updated. My drivers were from late 2022, and obviously these cores came out after that. But when I ran the motherboard system, it had a second set of updates. And I did have a error code that it was throwing, and it was going
Welcome
like a light
to the
beam,
ASOP vehicle
like a
retrieval
light
system.
blue screen earlier today, and I haven't had one since. So I am inclined to believe that. Also, I have my wait, what? Delivery times now. Okay, let's see what else I can get delivered. So right now, Lorville's my home, and all these items are they are adding timers to them. That's pretty neat. Actually, I want to. Okay, so it only takes 20 seconds regardless of what it is. That's a Draft is a decent sized ship. It's a lot bigger than an MPOV, and it's only 20 seconds. I intended to use the Draft. Okay, while that's
Please
timing
visit us at
down.
Welcome.
No. Wait, I promised flights. Promised flights.
Vehicle selected. Stand by. Your vehicle has been delivered to the following location.
Number 6. We're still working. By the way, I
Please
checked
visit
earlier.
us again.
Concierge is not in yet. Unfortunately, the does not function. Let's get over the elevators. Check, I'm still recording. Cool. Okay. So the forced door glitch is still up. I wanted to bring up this about the raft. A lot of us are theory crafting. I did not invent this idea, but I've been saying for ages when the raft finally has proper storage, these containers are going to be really useful. You can see these giant claws on the bottom of the raft because these are designed to be lowered, and then it can quickly go and pick up more goods very fast without needing like a hand tractor beam tech or something like that, or a ship tractor beam to throw the goods around and unload or load. The raft has a very unique role in that it can do nice VTOL work, and yes, I know the flight mechanics are not great, but it is meant to have a nice amount of VTOL and forward flight, of course. I'm not saying it's a sports car ship or something. It's not a Razor or a 350R, but it is meant for some unique roles in that it can lower these 3 pods and then go get some more containers. So 34 SCU containers. That's nothing to sneeze at, especially when it gets harder and harder to load quickly. The raft has a unique goal. It also can support org operations on larger ships over time. Deck. Let's see which one it takes us to. The raft has 2 decks. Yes. Okay. And the lower deck's really where most of the action is, unless you're doing a tractor beam. Can't we took persistence hangers around? Because that was, by the way, server FPS is probably what's killing me there. We saw 6 speed, 5. I'm still seeing around 35 FPS. Reminder of what I'm running. It is a 7800
Systems activating.
and
Systems
running
on.
64 gigs of RAM. It's now 6,000. And also, this is not as good. I'm running a graphics card that is a 2080, a vanilla 2080. It is overclocked. It is not a Founders or something like that. However, it's obviously far out of date. Eventually, I will get a better graphics card, but if anything, it is definitely graphics limited. When I was running the performance monitoring earlier, that was it was sitting at like 97, 98, 99%. So you are seeing this CPU doing its best to try to limit me along with the limited graphics cards I have asked for it to work with. Looks like the comms landing services are acting up. Cancel that request and try again. This may be a very short flight. In theory, I could go to the edge of town and go pick up a vehicle from there and do some fun small stuff. But I prefer to test it, takeoff, and landing. All right, let me try this one more time. I've seen this bug before. Usually it's when you're not the owner of the ship, which I am. It could very well be that the entire server is they're decaying, or just the services were acting up. I saw on another server earlier that Air E team is having trouble with their landings. Oh, wait. Oh boy. Trying to see. Okay. No, I don't want to spool by quantum drive. Let me just see if the...
Launch complete.
Is it actually there? Let's find out. I'm probably gonna bump into the gate. Yep. Yep. So anyway, excellent VTOL capabilities.
Landing complete.
Okay. Let me get out of the seat.
Launch complete.
This goes without saying. It was very buggy. And, yeah. As I've been saying many times, the raft has a really nice layout. It's not that expensive of a ship. It has a full, services for food, drink, hygiene. It's got proper suit lockers. Look at all these suit lockers. There's 2 and 2. because I think the vision of this ship is to be up to 2 players or a player and an NPC. And the idea is that you would have one set for like hazmat or atmo, exo gear and stuff, and then another set for combat or for meet and greets or whatever your case may be. But like 2 different sets of armor with 2 different colors, it's really nice, and it kind of sets the tone. And then this is the restroom here. I think it's a little weird that it has the frosted glass door, but yeah, it is a pretty nice ship. Anyway. Upstairs, you also have that weapon rack to my left, and then upstairs, any of these doors will work. Let's see. You have your tractor beam area. So even though you can just drop the whole bins, this will allow you to work the gantry, work the tractor beams, etc. And I would assume pull bins towards you and manipulate some of the cargo and such. It's a very powerful ship, and it has a lot going on for it. You can't see it yet much, though. And I know it feels like you're driving, a barge, because really that's what it is. It's a cargo barge that can quantum relatively reasonable distances for its size. And I gotta say that when this thing finally gets to be in its own, and you really get to see the vision of this ship, it's gonna be really nice. But right now, it's just not there yet. This is that famous Argo burnt orange color that everything Argo-wise has. And I apologize. Graphics card is constrained, so keep on the back here. I wish I could test this with a 4080 or something nice, 4070 Ti or something. But see how those prices go. So. Okay. Well, there's the med bay, as I was talking about earlier. It is in game. This thing here, but I do want to turn it back in. So, interestingly, the cores themselves are running the 2 cores that I described earlier, the 2 powerful cores that it recognizes as best cores, are running about 50%. It is a good average. They go like 40 to 65%, I guess you could say. They kind of jump back and forth, not constantly. When I got in the ship and I started actually going up and things like that and started manipulating different objects, I guess it was putting more load on it. It went up to around 65%. Right now, they're hovering at about, the CCDs are hovering at about, looks like 40, 50%. There's no percentage, it's just a raw number, but I'm looking at the bar graph
Welcome
and trying to
to
judge
the
how
ASOP
far
vehicle
along it
retrieval
is.
system.
So they're not being overtasked. They are clearly just treading water. I think that this thing, when they're able to use more than 2 cores, so when the whole team, I'm not just giving Selvin credit for this, but when the whole engine team is able to realize their dream of having many cores, be utilized, I think this thing's going to be even more of a monster in StarCitizen. Because right now you're stuck on those 2 cores, and you're really relying on how fast can they handle things, latency issues, those kind of things during the cycles. When this thing has those other cores able to be rocking along, it's going to be really interesting. The other cores, they're not sleeping, by the way. Those other cores are running at about 20-30%. Which I don't think has anything to do with StarCitizen.
Please visit
I haven't seen them spike or anything like that during StarCitizen. I haven't seen them going up above 30%, any of them. But they are there, and I do find that interesting. I also find this door interesting. I don't remember it being.
Definitely take a look around. Got some great stuff in stock.
That's the new deal guy. But he's over there across the way. Is this... Wait a minute, that's like the other side of the concierge areas. Is that coloration correct? It's obviously talking. Are they expanding the deal, or is this just the concierge club's secret entrance or exit or something? I try hard. Does not seem interested. Now in Orison, the concierge, the chairman's club, aka the concierge is what allows you in there. They have a person that meets and greets you, but she doesn't talk. Here, I'm not quite sure what this is for. I'm used to seeing a door here, if I remember right. Every patch seems to be like a little game of guessing of are they trying to roll something out. And Loreville is really fun at that because with Loreville 2.0 coming up, there's probably a lot of smaller things they want to sneak in services-wise. And new points of interest, new things for players to kind of act, especially social components, I think.
Welcome to New Deal Shipyard, the finest purveyor of pre-owned vessels in all of Lord.
See? This is where you're supposed to be, that voice. Not over in the spaceport.
Definitely take a look around. Got some great stuff in stock right now.
Let's see if there's anything new here. This list is getting big. Here's the Drake Mule, once again holding at 15k UAC. These numbers are not final. This is 3.18.2 on the test server. And this is like a test within a test of a test for Xenothreat. And this is on April 7. So do bear that in mind, that these numbers may be completely off. There's the RSI Scorpius, for example, the turreted version, the non-jammer, for 2.8 mil, 2.87 million. You can see a lot of this stuff. It's not new though. There's the RAF we were just talking about, 1.853 mil. And this thing will make you money. And once again, you don't have to buy this for real funds, or you could use it as a CCU stepping stone if you're moving up anyway. I see in the near term this would be a very interesting ship, but not right now, and not long term. This would be more of a buying game, and I could see orgs like buying a couple of these and just leaving them places. You would have this parked behind your outpost, to pick up off of a hull E that's hull D or something, or C that's waiting up in the atmo to deliver a specific grid of cargo boxes. And you would tell them like, hey, I need these standardized cargo unit sizes, or this ship would be designed to accommodate 2 of the smaller ones, the 16s or something like that, maybe. I'd be very curious. I'd love to see if there's different options for the size of these containers, or if it's stuck on those specific ones. So these become more popular with orgs because they're able to operate with those specific containers on a specialized ship.
Attention, Stanton. The time has come to strike at the corporate puppets.
Yeah. I'd love to come get you, but it won't let me take off. So.
Anyone attempting to interfere with our crusade.
Famous Starfarer, another underrated ship, 6.65 1 mil. And the Star G, 6.19 mil. And the reason this is cheaper, in case you don't know, is this ship has additional equipment that comes with it when you buy it for real. When you go on the hangar and you pick it up and such on the site, it includes a whole second set of Starfarer internals that you can swap out. You can swap out between. And with the ship in game, it does not come with that extra internal set. So basically, that's why this is cheaper, technically. I still don't think it should be cheaper. I should think it should be the same price, but that's the deal. So the Star G. Here's the Razor series, the subscriber ship of the month. You can see the whole series here, and this is just a reminder that these prices, look at the price: 1.7 mil, 1.87 mil, 1.82. They're not that expensive. I mean, for that kind of money, Freelancer Max is obviously going to make you a lot more money, but it's there. And yeah, I don't see anything new. I don't see anything new. It is nice to see the reclaimer in the list. I think it's always a reminder for people as a nice long-term goal for an org. Picking up a 15.1 million UEC reclaimer. Post all these wipes that they keep talking about for 3.18.1 and 3.18.2 would be a nice thing to have to share, obviously with a good time zone coverage. And the Phoenix holds its price at 5.658. It's a long term. That's been there a while, and this should still be on display. So yeah, it's kind of interesting to me. A lot of this stuff was here. A lot of this stuff will continue to be here. I look over and I see the same exact stuff, and then I see little hints of what's coming ahead. Small hints or bigger hints. It is interesting to me to follow those patterns. But yeah, you look at my FPS in the top right, you can obviously tell that I'm GPU bottleneck, not CPU bottleneck. It's in the 30s and 40s going around these areas that are more open with a lot of clouds. As a reminder, these are my graphical settings. I'm going to make the volumetrics about medium and see what happens. Because these clouds in the past have really kicked the crap out of my computer. I will say that it's a lot smoother, anecdotally anyway. I will say that I don't see as many issues. I have not had any major issues that keep popping up. I can alt tab pretty reliably, which is nice. I was not able to do that. And I think based on the CPU utilization, I have full and memory utilization, I have full confidence that I'd be able to alt tab and run videos and run Discord and stuff in the background. I don't think I'd be able to video edit. I wish I could. But while I'm playing, I don't think it's that stable to do all that. But it's pretty good. I also look hard at the server FPS, and I remind myself that, you know, I'm seeing a maximum of 6, and it's kind of now hovering at 4 and 5, so the server is getting kind of degraded over time. So I just got to remind myself that some of the sluggishness on handling the kiosks and seeing the AI not able to function, I have to remind myself that some of that's the server. Seeing a player that's kind of not super speeded up, kind of jumping around. I have to remind myself that's server side. And then there's nothing my CPU can do. I could have a super everything better or worse on that front. So yeah, I think this is a pretty good first test. And this is the state of things. And I hope to get the servers running with flight tests and maybe do some missions and show you where things are. But the chip is rock solid. If you're on the fence, just do it. Honestly, if you're not on the fence and you're like trying to tell yourself not to do it, that's fine. I mean, if you're doing some rudimentary upgrade that's like more iterative, where you were in the past generation or two of chips, it's probably not going to knock your socks off as much as it did for me. Coming from a 7700K directly to a 7800 X3D really changed the game for me and made it a lot smoother. Being able to even speak with you reliably is nice. I've done now a couple tests, and you've heard 2 of them in this video alone, and they don't come in choppy, they don't come in clippy. The CPU is not maxed redlined at 99, and it's giving me clear indicators that I have an upgrade path to follow. How in the world did they get out with that ship? Anyway, it gives me clear indications of where I need to be and where my path forward is, which is picking up a new GPU when the prices settle down. And I think that's something that many people can do and appreciate. I'm going to try one more time to get a ship out. Maybe that's the secret, is get something small. Stuck on the tree.
Welcome to the ASOP Vehicle Retrieval System. Vehicle selected. Stand by.
The mighty MPUV.
Your vehicle has been delivered to the following location.
It's got my icon up, but I'm gonna wait to see what it actually says. Okay, hangar 9.
Please visit us again.
Actually says hangar 9. Ooh, let's see if they did any changes down here. So, I doubt this is gonna be part of it. Okay, there's people down there. There's people down there. Okay. I'll have to check my old videos and see if there was so many NPCs or any NPCs back a while ago. I do think there was props down there. I don't know if there was AI down there. Interesting. So NPCs running around and having like an AI cycle, like just walking through or sitting and playing with movie glasses and stuff would be very interesting. So what you're looking at is these are the commercial gate sectors. So the commercial flights of the Genesis Starliner and I would assume the Spirit E1 and ships like that. You can even see a Genesis Starliner logo right here. You would go through these gates. These elevators would take you down to those gates below us. So that's been there a long time, but it is interesting to see NPCs down there. I have to look at my old videos and see. I've checked back that space a lot of times. So, yeah, it might be something new. It's again, little hints is what I look for a lot of times. And sometimes I'm kicking myself because I'm like, I discovered that. I'm one of the people who found that. And I go, okay, what, but I didn't call it beforehand. That's not good. Okay. Once again, server FPS is low. You get weird glitches like that. Alright, so the mighty little MPUV cargo. I have not, confession, I have not been in one of these in a freaking while because it doesn't have a quantum drive. So, let's double check what the heck's going on here. This is an Argo, this is a Argo ship night, I'll tell you. Let's get flight ready. Let's find the date button. Here we go.
Systems activating. Systems on.
Okay. Come on, Lorville Landing Services. So technically I could go get like my 125A or whatever from the gate, go all the way out to the gate on the exterior of the site, and then fly that up to a station, and then grab another ship that's bigger. But unfortunately, I am fading a little bit. I'll be honest with you. Past 2 days of work and then building a PC and then troubleshooting and teething that PC, they're starting to catch up with me. I think this session's gonna be wrapping up right now. Especially when this didn't work. That would have been cool to at least fly this over to the event to get a quantum ship. What are you gonna do? Poor little MPUV cargo. Oh, one of the neat things about the MPUV cargo that everybody forgets is if you go to the back of this thing, I accidentally brought up the personnel thing. But the personnel has an incredible amount of seats in here. But the cargo variant has a drop seat in the back for one player or NPC to sit in, and then cargo pad on the back. And then it has a side door, which is quite useful. I forget if it's on the left or the right, but the side door is quite useful because you can peek out, you can tractor beam stuff into the container without having to open the giant door, and you can even shoot out of it technically, although I wouldn't take this thing near combat. Anything more than small arms, this thing's going to be a walking target, and it can't even quantum to safety. But you can do it. So it is a ship that's very interesting. These pods are interchangeable. Technically, the personnel and the cargo are the same ship. The actual might have different liveries, like paint jobs around the outside, but the pods themselves are interchangeable. You can drop this pod full of 8 players or NPCs and go grab a cargo pod and swap out. Once again, the cargo changes are very exciting, and I want to see more and more of that as we realize cargo containers themselves, stuff like the Argos will become more and more valuable. A lot like, to a much lesser extent, the Raft. I also question if the Raft will allow you to have personnel-style containers that you can pick up and then carry around between, like, say, between the fleet ships. You don't need something crazy armored if you're transporting people between a Javelin, let's say, and I'm trying to think of the most practical ship. Let's say a Endeavor Hope class or something. People got lightly injured or medium, reasonable injuries, like tier 2 injuries or below, and you just don't want to waste your medical supplies on your capital ship. Send them over to the Endeavor that has a little stockpile that, has people that are focused on medical stuff. You don't need something armored to be able to move people back and forth. So an MPUV personnel, which is docked inside, let's say, inside the Jav or an Idris in the fleet or something like that, wouldn't be insane to use. And even a larger extent, once again, the Raft is one of those more interesting ships to me. I could also see Rafts operating off of a Kraken. I would love to see if you could fit 2 Rafts on a Kraken, and then have still have fighters to act as protection to escort
Please
back and
visit us
forth
again.
the rafts between the Kraken and other places. I guess it really depends on how much the cargo elevator can help out or not. It's really more meant for arming and disarming these smaller vessels and servicing the medium and small, the 2 medium pads and the bunch of small support pads and 2 hangars, but we'll see. Those must be NPC ships. You just saw me try to break out the MPUV. Didn't work. Maybe that's part of the secret. I can camp these different pads, wait for an NPC, and then stow away. Anyway, that's all I've got for now. This is kind of just a first look at the 7800 X3D real-world example in 3.18.2. Once again, 64 gigs of RAM running at 6K, 2080 vanilla running. So that is where the bottleneck is. Yes, I know. And the 7800 X3D cannot be overclocked, at least based on Ryzen Masters rules. I have seen that other people have been able to get a default overclock or a automatic OC, I think it was. And it gave them instead of going at 5 gigahertz, it was going like 5.05 gigahertz. So it doesn't want to overclock at all, really. Just for the record, while we were warming this thing up, it's running at 42.65 Celsius, and its limit is 89. So the thing is not working much at all at this. Right now, while I'm standing here and not running around and loading new things and running ships or anything like that, it is actually going down quite a lot on the 2 cores that it is functioning on. They're sitting now just above what the rest of them are. They're running at, it looks like 45%, and they seem to be sitting around there. It's kind of wild seeing the raw numbers of the core, kind of getting to know this new system and getting to know the amount it's running. These numbers might mean something to you. The PPT is at 22%. The CPU power is only at 12 watts right now. The thing is using no juice. Earlier I saw that tick up quite a bit, but it was still laughable. SoC power is 10.7. TDC is right now is at 9%, and EDC is at 18%. If those mean anything to you. I have the system set up for maximum performance, no power blocking. I have the additional plug plugged into the motherboard for overclocking, even though of course this thing does not need extra power, but I didn't want to deprive it of anything. And it seems happy. It uses so little juice. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for hanging out with me and checking out this first look at the really cool, literally and figuratively, new chip from AMD. I know it's been a rough road. I didn't like that they delayed it, but I'm very grateful it's out. I'm very grateful to have this chance to try it out, and I can't wait at some point, if graphics cards come down to reality prices, to give it a nice dance partner. For now, I'm out. I wish you all a wonderful weekend and fly safe.